So, can the Yankees still improve without Juan Soto and without Cody Bellinger? Let's get into this one right now. This is one I definitely want to talk about. I'm going to paint you two different scenarios. Scenario one is if they don't get Juan Soto and if they don't get Cody Bellinger, what do? Scenario two, if they don't get Cody Bellinger, if they don't get Juan Soto, and if they don't get Yoshinobu Yamamoto, what do? Okay, before I do that, special congratulations are due for Gunnar Henderson for the Baltimore Orioles for winning the American League Rookie of the Year, and Corbin Carroll for the Arizona Diamondbacks for winning the National League Rookie of the Year. And both of them, congratulations to them. They've earned their teams an extra draft pick after the first round for the Baltimore Orioles, who already have the #1 farm in baseball, just making it stronger. Okay, and same thing goes for the Diamondbacks. They're getting in the high draft pick as well, and a pretty restocked farm as well. So, and both of these guys have also earned a full year of service time. Okay, now the difference between the two is Gunnar Henderson actually. So you have 3 preseason lists. You got Baseball America, ESPN, and MLB, right? If you're on top of 2 or 3 of those lists, even if you don't play the whole entire season, you still get a full year of service time if you win Rookie of the Year. Gunnar Henderson was on top of all 3 of those lists, #1. Okay, he played the full season, so he got Rookie of the Year. But had he not played the full season, he would have still gotten Rookie of the Year, and we would have still earned a full year of service time. And that's the key to full year service time if you don't play the full season. Corbin Carroll also played the full season like Gunnar Henderson did. However, he was #2 on all 3 of those lists. So had he not played the full season, he would have not earned the full service year. But he did play the full season, so he's getting a credit for a full year service time. So this is a slight difference between the two. I just wanted to get that out there. But they both gotten a full year service time, and they both got an extra high round draft pick for their team. So congratulations to both of them. Now, let's talk about this, okay? And this is going to things are going to start picking up. We have the Cy Young Award announcement this week. We've got non-tender deadlines later on this week. So make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. If you haven't done that yet, please. And if you do hit the subscribe button, just hit that notification bell. There way you're always in front of the line when the content comes in, when the breaking news comes in, and everything else. So I thank you so much for both. Now, let's get to this, okay? Scenario one. If they don't get Soto, they don't get Bellinger, okay? They're obviously going to need bats. So move one for me is to try to get 2 left-handed bats from St. Louis Cardinals. We know that they're available. We know they need pitching. We have what they need. They have what we need, okay? Whether it's Brendan Donovan and Nolan Gorman, or Brendan Donovan and Dylan Carlson, or something like that, or Brendan Donovan and even Alec Burleson, who they mentioned last week that they showed interest in. Getting 2 left-handed bats here would be a good idea for the Yankees. They've got to get bats. And if they're not getting the 2 expensive superstars who are also left-handed bats, this is a way of getting volume on cheap, controllable years and quality offensive production, okay? Now, move number 2 is keeping Gleyber Torres. This scenario, you got to keep that extra bat. So you keep Gleyber Torres. If you need to move them, depending on how the team is performing, if you need to move them at the deadline, you can move them at the deadline, okay? But you keep Gleyber Torres in this scenario to keep that extra offensive piece here, all right? Additionally, you go and try to sign Jeimer Candelario, another switch hitter. He's 29 years old, youth. He's on the right side of 30. He's versatile. He's athletic. He's a solid defender. He's a good player that I think he should be part of their offseason plans no matter what. Okay, so you're keeping Torres at the very least until the deadline. You reevaluate then. You're bringing in Jeimer Candelario, and you're trying to bring in 2 left-handed bats from the Cardinals. Okay, so you kept one of your big bats and you added 3. Okay, to offset not getting the 2 big bats. And in this scenario, you're getting Yoshinobu Yamamoto. You're doing whatever you can. Now, this talks about him potentially, the Mets potentially offering him up to $300 million. I don't know how accurate or true that is. But that would be nuts, offering $300 million for a pitcher who hasn't thrown a pitch in the major leagues yet. That's kind of nuts. But if the bidding goes that high, I would not be surprised if House says, Steve Cohen, Uncle Steve, you can win that bid. I ain't in the competition here. This is crazy. But you're going to have to, if you don't do that, the bidding gets that high. You got to pivot, dude. You got to pivot quick. You got to get a starter somewhere else. You have to. And a reliever if you can. Absolutely have to. So you have money. If you're not going to, if you were going to go to $200 million, let's just say, but he cost $300 million, you saved money here. Now you can afford to go get a starter. And you can afford to go get a reliever. Try to get Jordan Montgomery, somebody like that. Try to get someone else, and you try to get a good reliever. All right? You can sign both of them in free agency, and they're going to be cost less than Yamamoto. So that's scenario one. Scenario two is if no Soto, no Bellinger, no Yamamoto. Fans will be running with their hair on fire. Okay? Fans are going to be pissed off already for scenario one if they don't get either one of those bats or both of them. And rightfully so. Now they're going to be pissed off, and their hair is going to be on fire. If you don't get any of the three heads of the three-headed monster, no Soto, no Bellinger, or no Yamamoto, now it's like, ooh, DEFCON 5, right? So in this scenario, you're still going after Jeremy Candelario. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it. Okay? You're still going for the two left-handed bats from the St. Louis Cardinals. You have to. You got to get these three bats one way or the other. If you're not getting those two. Okay? But in this scenario now, you're going to trade Torres for a pitcher. If you trade him for a starter, then you sign a reliever in free agency. If you trade him for a reliever, then you sign a starter in free agency. Either way, you have to get two pitchers here. You're getting the three bats, but you have to use Torres as a piece in this scenario to get a good starter with controllable years. Whether it's a Garrett Crochet or Aaron Bummer, somebody like that. AJ Puck from the Marlins. Braxton Garrett from the Marlins. You got to do something. You got to get a valuable piece for Gleyber Torres. Okay? Yes, you would be replacing his offense here, but if you're not getting the key pitching prize, you have to bring in as good as you can. And Gleyber Torres is the only player here who can help you get that. That's why you do that. You trade him for a starter and you sign a reliever in free agency, or you trade him for a reliever and you sign a starter in free agency. Either way, you got to do it. And you got to try to get those three bats to offset those two that you're not getting. Okay, like I said before, you're not getting two Rolls Royces, but you're going to be bringing in three BMWs. Okay, which is better than three Yugos or Pintos. Okay, and you can even at this point, too, if you get those two St. Louis bats, you know, they could both be infielders. If you're going to move Torres, okay, they could both be infielders. And you could still go out and get a Jung-Hoo Lee from South Korea. Another bat. And the fact is, you can get those two Cardinal players on the cheap with controllable years. You get Candelario, okay? And whatever else moves you make, you're just using pieces in a trade and some money in free agency, but you're not spending $500 million on Cody Bellinger and Juan Soto. And yes, you have the money to burn. You have the money to spend. But that said, if you're not going to make those two monumental moves, and you have to make other ones, or three monumental moves, or any of them at all, you have to make other moves, and you have to make them quickly. You got to get volume if you're not going to get the quality. And you got to address multiple holes, period. So those are scenarios 1 and 2. I want to know what you think. Load up the comments. Let's have a conversation, okay? And I'm looking forward to going live when the Cy Young Award is announced, because I'm really hoping that we can celebrate Garrett Cole in the Cy Young. And I have a good feeling that he will. So have a great day, everybody. Peace and love, and I'll talk to you next time.